Hello back everyone to a new awesome video. This is part 21, and in this part we're actually going to continue doing our textures. We didn't do like a lot of objects last time. We basically did only the top cylinder and its tubes, and that's kind of about it. That's because I mostly explained stuff and what kind of methods we will use. So if you want to know all that, I recommend you check in the last video, which I'm going to actually leave a link in the description if you need so. So yeah, that's why we'll do this video. So please, if you so like, leave a like on this video, leave a comment, tell me what do you think about the series, and also if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It's a really cool channel and it's actually free, so I recommend you to do that. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright, here we are back. So we've created the textures for our top cylinder, and actually I think what I didn't do last time, and I think we should, right, is choose actually a style. So I do like the Hogwarts like style and stuff. I do like the half black half red stuff they've got going on the main cylinder. I think I'll do that, but I kept looking at this, right, and I kind of like this as well, but I do kind of like the metal hard look of at least the front here, right? So I would say what we should do is, oh, not click away from that, have like this hard scratched, kind of worn a little bit type of metal in the front here, like dark, mostly black actually, metal, and then the bright red that can go behind it. And I think that's actually a pretty cool idea. While these can be just like this, some contrast, right? So this can actually just be a continuation, while these two can actually be, like a golden, or I don't know. We'll just figure it out. But to kind of get a main idea of what we're trying to get, I think it's important, right? Okay. So with this being said, uh, I personally think we well, I kind of want to say we should go to the main cylinder. However, though, this is gonna be a little more complex. This is a little, you know, this is gonna be a lot of information there. So actually, let's do the bell first. Um, when I say there's gonna be a lot of information for that one, well, I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit. It's not necessarily a lot of information, but it's gonna be a little, I would say, tougher. Alright, so in material mode, let's select the bell and dash to have only the bell in our view. Now, there are two ways. I showed you how to do the procedural method, and we're still going to use that, but I do want to use some of the Polygon, um, you know, add-ons, and oh, they have an update, but I'm not gonna do it right now. This is for later. So there's a free gold material that you can get, and here's a little catch. You can click away from your object, so nothing is selected right now in the viewport, and just import the material you want. So let's import this gold texture, right, in 2K. All right, perfect. And also you can see here the polygon. You can choose if you want the mapping to be UV, box, sphere, just for like these simple objects. You don't need to necessarily, UV unwrap. It's gonna work perfectly fine. Good. So you can also play with the scale and stuff, but we don't care. We just import it and that's about it. Now click on the actual object and let's add a new material, and this is gonna be called a bell. All fine so far. Now, to add this material, we've imported, because this is not here yet. We have only the principal BSDF. What you gotta do is go, so Shift A, you have to go to Group. And here in Group, this is something that comes, I think this is only coming if you have the Polygon add-on on. Honestly, I never checked it without, so I don't know for sure, but it does make sense because only the polygon groups will show up here. So you have the groups, go to the texture you want. In my case, it's gonna be the gold paint, and this huge node will show up, right? And it's pretty intimidating when you see it. We saw it before with the texture. Like I can actually change it right now to that texture, which I think it was well, I don't remember which one it was. And don't we have it here anymore? We might not. Well, whatever. Well, you actually can go on the metal gold stuff, and it's actually the gold we will use. So this is how it actually looks like connected and stuff. Do we need to do all this? No. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's actually select the bell and have this back. So, out of all these nodes, there are really not all of them are interesting to us. We do care about the base color because again, this will give us the color. We do care about the roughness, the metalness, and also the normal. We need the normal as well. So, actually, let me check it out just to see something. Yeah, I was a little confused if. So, you can also use the height here for either a displacement map, either we can try to use it for a bump map. We'll see how that goes. So first off, we should put in a mapping node. All right, not a UV map, sorry, mapping node. All right, and this actually Control T just to bring me the texture coordinate. This is going to be the UV, and this will get here, and the base color will go to the base color, and look what happens. The base color of the gold is going to be right there, of the gold material. The roughness goes right into the roughness perfectly well. And if you forget what you should have, check these out, and you will see what you should have versus what to not have, right? So not that. All right, so we have the roughness, we have the base color, get the metalness and put it into the metallic part, and now it has the metallic actual values of the golden material we have there. And then the normal, into the normal, and this already looks super good. And now we can do a little bit of a thing here. So actually we can't really do the thing I said with a bump, unless I think we can take the bump here and just put it into the normal. But that will get rid of the normal we already had, so we don't really want that. So what you should do, this is not mandatory, these are more than enough. You can see it already looks super good, so this is okay. But you can get the displacement, and just as I said before, the displacement has to go into the displacement value from the material output, and here it is, right? But again, make sure you have in the settings displacement and bump to actually let you see the displacement. And in our node here for the golden material, or whatever material you chose, let me extend this just a little bit, you have the displacement strength, which is 0 right now, and we don't want it to be 0, we want it to be, well, any value we really need. But right now yeah, so actually the displacement for this one doesn't seem to actually change anything, so kind of a bad example there. But you can usually play with the scale of the displacement to adjust it with what you want. So we can actually take the displacement out because it's not gonna do any change. However, though, we can play with something here that will actually impact our body quite a bit, and that is the bump strength. You have it right here. We don't need it. The normal already has it for us, and you can just play around with it to make it maybe something like this. Just a little layer to be, but not too much. And I think this looks pretty good. And yeah, this is basically recreating exactly more or less the node that uh, Andrew's add-on had. If you actually will go, let me see. Where is, oh yeah, the goal is there. You will see that, he also connected the alpha and the emission, but we don't need that because that is not uh, actually going to affect anything here. So, we can live without those, is what I'm trying to say. All right. Okay, and having this, we basically are pretty alright already. I mean, this is looking pretty good. And in the beginning of my Blender career, this is what I did. This is basically it for me. But as I talked to you last time, we now should add layers to actually make our, textures look way more impressive. So basically, what we will do, right, is take one of the nodes we did use last time, which is the geometry node, right? And we can take its pointiness and connect it to a color ramp. How about that? And now Control Shift, oh yeah, I don't have the screen recording keys, do I? Screencast, sorry. Well, now we do, and now we're good. All right, so uh, now we'll see what this does, right? So basically, again, we can't see anything like this. We need to actually go into the render view and play around with what you think you need for your materials. Um, Maybe something like that. Let's actually maybe like this. And you'll see what I'm trying to do more or less right away. What with these? Okay, with these is much better. Yeah, it's gonna do just okay like that. All right. So having this, let's save actually. And what we will want to do, right, is Shift A, and let's bring in maybe a principal BSDF node, right? And also, of course, a mix shader. And right here, mix shader. Okay, great. So, having the mix shader now, right? We will use this geometry, the pointedness of it, mostly as we use the ambient occlusion earlier on. And the reason we use this and not ambient occlusion is because we don't want the same effect. Actually, we will use both. So, yes, the nodes get a little more complex, but I think we will do just fine with it. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So having all this is more than amazing so far. Okay, what we need is for this to go into place A, while this goes into B. And right now it doesn't look like much because, well, we actually can't see too much of it, can we? So let's actually press the dash button here for us to see. Again, it cycles. It's gotta move a little slower. We gotta give it that. It's doing the most it can. And actually, for it to move just a little better, I'm going to hide most of the things around here, right? Like, there's no reason for the renderer to, do more than it needs right now. All right, so this is what we have. And um, even though we will have snow on our belt, we don't want it, down here. It just makes no sense. However, just as, again, I told you so many times, we should have details and layers. So we want a little bit of a, wear down edge of the belt, right? So to do that, let's actually make this a little grayer like that, maybe. This is going to be fully metallic, and we're going to go with roughness, I don't know, maybe 0.05 actually, like super low, because this is metal. This is not like playing around with metal. This is, you know, stretched metal. I don't think stretched metal makes any sense. And again, we can play with the value here and, increase it a little bit. And now I think this is way too dark. So even though I do like the metal to be shown pretty much, I don't want it to be like so bad. So yeah, we will take it a little bit. And yeah, the roughness, let it be 0.1. I think it can do its job like that as well. But shall we do only that? No. The reason for it is because I don't want it to. So let us get, what is it? Maybe a gradient texture should do the job. Control T to bring everything we need here, and a color ramp would also actually be pretty good. Set this to constant, by the way, and you'll see why in just a second. Control Shift, and let's see what we have. So the gradient, it's exactly what it says. Actually, let's actually set this to linear for you to understand exactly what you got. So you basically get this, right? The more you go with the black color around, you go, to the middle of it. And if you bring this to the middle as well, it's basically almost constant values, right? This is what gradient is, and we can actually play around with it. So we can adjust the angle from here. So if we put the Z to, like, let's say minus 90, well, not the Z, sorry, it was the Y, yeah. And we actually have to get it to 90 if Blender would let me pick that. And what we need is to get this down, right? Like to get this kind of around where our were was, right? Maybe something like this should do. And the reason for it really is because we will take this and make it a little I don't know, a little grungier, let's say, right? Like something like this, maybe you should do. Let's see. This goes into the base color, and we'll see what we have when we do this. And this is what we get, right? But we don't want that. We hate that, actually. So we change it just like so, and this becomes the gray we talked about a little earlier, while this up here becomes our I don't know, like rusty-ish thing. And here you just have to, play with the values. How gray do you want it to be? And Control Shift, to basically make yourself an idea of what you're really getting, right? You can also use the ease because it helps a little bit with, again, it makes the pass from one color to the other a little smoother. So I think that's also pretty important. And yeah, this is kind of what we get. And yeah, we can just play around with this and make it seem a little wear down. And if we're like, oh, but this looks like this belt is really old now, right? Which is true, and we don't want that, do we? We can adjust it from here. So this is why I think this is such a cool thing to work procedurally. You can just add such small little details and hints, right? That will bring a lot of character to our object with little to no effort, and just by sliding some shaders around after you've already created what you needed to create. So we have this, right? This is pretty cool, but we can do more. We can actually put the snow just like we did for all the others, and the way we can do that actually, let me pull all these just like so, the mix shader right here, right? And add another mix shader node, because this is what we need. Alright, so having all this, we got a mix shader. What we're going to get is the gradient, another gradient texture. Control T to have all these nodes here. Color ramp. And for now, we can do with this. So let's actually see what we get right here. And just like earlier, 90 degrees for the Y to basically see what we get, right? It's pretty cool and pretty nice. And we can actually have, a new value in between. So let's get the black kind of around there. And this value, we can play with it a little bit. So we can get kind of what we want and actually get even one more color in between, right? To like ease even more the pass, like more or less like so. And we can do it kind of like this, right? Also put this to ease to make it even better. And the reason we do this, right, is because we can take this, use this as a mask, and we get another principal BSDF. The principal BSDF is so useful, you just can use it in so many other ways, especially for creating like new textures and stuff. And this is gonna be our new, new snow. And for example, we want to hide that seam right there. Well, it's pretty easy actually to do so. We just need to, kind of get in there. How? Pretty simple. The snow will cover it. And now if we go here, the snow covers it more or less, all of it. But this is not really looking too real. I mean, yeah, the snow would be on it, but would it be like this much, without anything? I don't think so, right? So what we will do is actually have another node, which is a color mix node. I know I'm throwing a lot of nodes at you right now, but I think you'll see why in just a second. This will make a big difference. And we use a noise texture. I told you quite a couple of times, noise texture, gradient, and image texture, probably the most used ones. At least in my case, all right? I use this so much. It's like, the one thing that I love using. And we can actually have this multiply. So we would multiply the gradient with the noise texture right here. I could not see it for the love of me. And then, you just play around with it. Also, we should have added, we can actually duplicate this color ramp. And for this, we actually won't need this. We will just play around with what we want to get, right? Like, we don't need anything more than that. Kind of like that. And also the factorial will be a percentage of how much each of these will influence. So we can get this to like 0.75%. So you still have some whiteness around there, but it's the noise that will take a little more of the control over it, which depending on the case, it's what you will want to do. And this actually looks pretty interesting and pretty more way more accurate actually than all the other stuff, right? Because again, you will have a lot of snow, but not like that. And you can actually play around also with this. So let's actually make this like 30. I think looks pretty nice, right? The roughness of it, I think 0.75 could do, and the detail. Well, the detail I would actually let 5.5. I think this looks pretty interesting. This looks pretty good, and it does look like actual snow already. This looks quite impressive, but it's not snow yet, right? Why is that? Because we don't have it here yet. And I think you already know the drill for this one. Just take the noise texture, Control T, get your color ramp. All right. Okay, right here. And actually, let's see, because this one has to be a little. So let's 100 this. This is what we did for all the others. 4.5, I think it was. I think it was 85 here. I'm trying to remember this, but it's not, necessary. It's not like anyone would look like, oh, but is it the same value though, like you used back there? And no one cares, really. So as long as it looks good and you like it, I go for it. Again, this is kind of complex. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna try to argue with anyone that wants to say that this is not a beginner tutorial anymore. I do think they're kind of right if they say so, because I do think I changed a little bit the, not topic, but you get it, like the whole thing, right? Like, and you can do something like that. Just a very subtle bluish stuff. It doesn't need to be more than that. It's not that noticeable, but we know it's there, and we can maybe push for a little more of it. Something like that. Actually, no. Something like that. Okay, and actually, I would love to desaturate this just a little bit more. Alright, so there is some, difference, but I think it looks good. I think both these objects look pretty cool right now. And again, we hide the seam. This is another very good reason to do this. The seam, you can't see it as well anymore. And maybe you will say, well, I don't really want to see even that. It's kind of a lot already. Also, by the way, this to point two, because the snow looked like so dense there. And now you can actually don't see it at all, but let's say you want even more. Well, it's pretty simple. Just go here at the noise and add more snow, and it's even harder to see it. You can take some snow out if you wanna. The beauty of procedural, it's non-destructive. You can play around with however much you need or you wanna, do. It's actually the beauty of all this. And you can also play with a gradient here. Yeah, it is like a little, you know, more like this. Or have a more fall off. So all of it depends really on you and how you want to create it. Personally, I am of the belief that you know we should strive to make this look interesting, but at the same time not like if you're not going to make a fantasy stuff, try to make it look good, but at the same time make a little bit of sense so that you're kind of grounded in reality. Now, these tubes, I don't want them to be the golden tubes from back there, right? I want them to be, well, metal, a little bit corroded type of deal, and actually to look a little like this, right? Like this is, metallic. It's not looking like anything else. So this is bell holder, right? That's what we call it. That's why we'll call it here as well, if I can actually spell it. And yeah, there are the notes. So having this, I mean, it's pretty easy to already do it. We can actually change back to materials now to give our PC a little bit of a, breather. It did a lot, and it will have to keep doing. So, you can just take this and make it darker, kind of like a dark gray material, get the roughness down, maybe to like a 0.5, not a, sorry, 0.15, sorry. I always miss that. All right, something like that, and it will not look bad. You can also add, of course, a noise texture, because what else would we, huh? A noise texture. It's probably the most useful texture out there after the image, maybe. I don't know. I think I just said exactly what the Guru or Enterprise, however you know him, said in one of his tutorials, like exactly the exact words. Exactly the exact words, yeah. That's it. I'm a genius, by the way. God damn it. All right. So oh, this has to be like way down, and the reason for it, maybe 750, because we need it to look pretty darn, damage, not a lot of damage actually, but to still look a little rough, a little like, oh no, something happened here. And there are two ways you do this. So you did exactly what we did now, but you also, so you need two color ramps for a reason, and that is we will need the base color, and the base color right now is exactly what you see. This has to be the gray we want it to be, and we need to actually see this to see what's going on. And this, in my opinion, should just be either a darker gray or a lighter gray, depends on what you want to do. You can do something like that. Maybe this can actually get a little darker. And this can, be a bump map. And get it into the normal here. And it's going to look very rough. So not invert, sorry. 0.1. And it looks so damaged. Maybe a 0.05, let's see. A little better, but still not there. And I think actually this is a little too much. So again, you can play with the shaders or just the noise itself. Maybe it depends on what you want to do. Right, so you'd have this, and then you can just play around with it. Like if you want this color to be more like rusty looking, you can go for like something like this, which maybe a little more of the look you like, make it a little darker, right? Like something like this, and it will all make a little bit part more of the vibe that you're trying to get at. And I think that's important. I think that's actually super important to do. All right, let's save and move on. And actually, let's take another look at our beautiful references. Let's actually do the lead now. I think the lead is so interesting actually, and I kind of want to do it. And by the way, for the more important object, I'm going to use add-on textures or image textures. It really depends. And I did tell you I'm going to show you a site where I will take image textures from, right? Well, I'll show you more than one site really. This is the iWare site I showed you in one of the previous videos. But for textures, what I do use usually, it's Polyhaven, really. So if you go to Poliigon, well, besides super cool TV shows, you get either HDRIs, models, textures, whatever. All of them are free, by the way, or I think all of them are free. I'm not so sure. Don't quote me on that. So let's say, for example, we want like metal, right? You just search for it and have a lot of various, variants. I don't think that's the word I was looking for, but well, a lot is a lot said, but it's still like a lot of stuff. You can also use 3D textures, another great way to see textures, and you say metal and free. I recommend you to say free because these are not all. Like if say just metal, this is also a subscription based site. So if you see here, it's you have to have premium credit. Personally, I don't know how to even get them. never did, so I don't know. Also, there is Adobe Substance. All right, so if you go on Adobe Texture, Adobe Substance or yeah, Substance Adobe. You know what I'm saying, okay? Again, you have a lot of materials. As you can see, I search for fabrics at some point, and it stays at default now. So you can search for a metal. Again, the same thing for all of them. And actually, here you can, or you could. I'm not really sure. Yeah, you can, press for free assets. So it's a little easier for us to choose. Again, not a lot of choices if we're going free. And also you can, go for like models, light, surfaces, decals. We'll talk about all of them at some point. Not now, probably, but, at some point. And I think another really good place to search for these, it's the Megascan library. Now, I don't think I ever downloaded one. I do have Quixel Mixer, which is the texture program from Quixel Megascans, which is Epic's, by the way, shop and texture place. I botched all of that, didn't I? And you can just same thing, search for it, and you can say surfaces. Well, I already kind of said what I want, didn't I? And you can, be like new, old, damaged. Basically every single thing you want that to have. These are the trending metals apparently, so that's what's cool. For example, this iron actually looks super cool, right? And again, this is also based on points and stuff, but I'll be totally honest, some of them are actually pretty good in my opinion. I am not subscribed to any of these, but I do consider doing so because I think it might look good. I don't know. But another thing is if you use Quixel Mixer, you have a lot of free materials there already. Now, I don't recommend you using that and actually using that to sell assets because I don't think that would work. You have to, just search for the license and stuff. But um, if you want just for renders and stuff, you can totally do that. So that's fine. But again, Polyhaven is a good place. And if all these are not enough for you, and Polygon for some reason would not be enough for you, don't forget that I showed you two add-ons, and Blender Kit is the second one. And if you search for metal on Blender Kit, and it should show me the results. I think it should. Well, maybe not. Let me. Oh, sure, yeah, the anim. That's why everything was going crazy because the animation was turned on. Um. Yeah, no. So I want the Blender Kit, the metal, and okay, now I can see them. So if I go to shading, okay, now I can see them here as well, finally. So yeah, always make sure, for some reason, apparently if you have the shading and, the eye drop stuff is on, you still have to have it on from the layout as well. I'm not sure why that is, but it is. And for example, you can have this metal and you just have to click it. Object selected, click on it, and then here you have it. It's applied. And if you have the UVs done properly, it's gonna look something like this. I mean, it looks awesome, right? And again, it's because it's doing quite a bit of work. Now, of course, these are a little bit tweaked as well. You can see that some of these are actually a little bit played around with. But I think this is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting, right? So yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm actually gonna stick to this because again, I don't want it to be like the old train was. I want this to be a little more not rusty, but like it was used before, right? I don't want it to just look like nothing there, right? Good. So, what else we can do? Well, very simple. We can get some snow in there, and actually also some more stuff, just like we did before, right? Because this is pretty cool. This is nice and all. However, though, we can make it cooler. So we can go to geometry, and actually we would also like to play with the pointedness of this one. So color ramp. Okay, Control Shift, left click, and let's see what we get. And actually, yeah, go into the render. I always forget to go into the render mode for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with me. So, why would I do this, right? Like, why? It's so perfect already. Didn't I say that? I did. But here's the deal. It always can be improved. Not in English grammar though. Perfect. You cannot improve that one. But other than that, yeah, this can work. This can actually be even cooler. How? Well, very simple. We have the mix shader right here, and again, we'll use the geometry pointedness as a mask. Let's see how it looks. Well, exactly like it did before. Not a big difference. But if we have another principal BSDF like we did for all the others, so I don't think you'll be shocked hearing this. What we can do is, you know, not have, the wore down stuff. Have like some dirt, some little dusty particles, stuffy stuff in there. And the reason for it really, it's because it adds a little bit of character. It adds again like everything in the real world has a little bit of particle dust, a little bit of stuff, especially if it's like something like a train. Like it's not clean every day or anything. It's gonna have some of that dirt, rustiness, all that stuff in there. So, play around with that logic and make it look good. So, bring in the color ramp, of course, because what else do we love if not a color ramp, right? And then the noise, get it to like what fits you. I would actually do it a pretty high one because this is the particles we're talking about, right? The things we were seeing there, and actually the roughness I'm gonna put 1, and the detail. Well, the detail I'm going to probably leave a 5.5. I think this is pretty detailed as it is, and yet it's a little bit up, just like this. So, just have a contrast there. Oh, okay, pretty good. And have a bump map. Actually, not a bump map. I might not want to do that now, at least. Oh no, I do want to do it. But we will also use it, as you just saw me doing it, for the roughness. And remember what I explained, how this works. Black means 0 roughness, so it's shiny. White means, roughness up to 1, so it's not shiny at all. It's matte. And actually we want to divide these two. We don't want them to be in the same one because we might play with the 0 and 1 value according to what we need. So let's actually put this here. And of course we need, let's actually take all this down. So, you select everything, press G, just like you move, the bodies in the viewport as well, in the layout. And now another one here, and get it into the base color, right? And let's see what the principal BSDF is. Well, nothing too good now, does it? And the reason for it, of course, I think everyone kind of knows it. It's because of these, because of what we have up here, right? And also because of this, probably. 0.1 actually. Let's see. For now, we don't really care about this. We mostly care about what we want this to be like. So, we actually want this to be a little more like this. And this one, it doesn't have to actually be at all, black. It has to be more or less this color. Actually, not this color either. I'm kind of wrong presuming that. It should be the color of the metal, because what's there? Well, it's the metal. And actually, I changed the wrong one, didn't I? which apparently it's more or less pitch black. So, you know, not a great one. But well, it's not. Okay, I'm saved by the bell. It's not perfectly pitch black. It's a little less dark. So you can see this. You can see like this little edge around there. It's not much, but you totally make a difference. It totally makes a difference. And I think, yeah, you also make a difference. You know what? So here's without it, which still looks pretty good. Don't get me wrong, but with it, it just adds that pop. It just adds that crisp to it. Like it makes it look so much better just because it, yeah, that's a little bit of edge wear. That's a little bit of, you know, dust particles and like dirt that's been adding up with the time, right? And we want that because we want to more or less simulate how reality works, don't we? Okay. So having all this, let me show you that one more time, and you all know what's coming. You all saw this coming. So, actually, let me see what the ambient occlusion will do to this one. So the ambient occlusion thing, right? I'm not really, you know, yeah, using it in a particular way. I just see how it looks, if I like what it does to, you know. So here's another thing, right? We could, for example, have used this for the particle dusty stuff. But I didn't want it to be affected like this much, right? I just didn't. I wanted it to be like super, you know, easy on it, super, you know, what's it called? Subtle. Now, of course, you can do this with the ambient occlusion as well. I'm kind of lying if I would say not, but actually, we can either even see, right? So if we do this, and you know, we actually don't connect this, and we actually look just at this. Of course, I did forget about that. We need to see this, right? So, you know, there's that. That. Yeah, that. But it's not really helping us. And you'll kind of see why this is not gonna stay a metal, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, this is not really working right now in this scenario. At least not from my point of view. If you like it, go ahead. You know, you can keep it. You should actually try to do whatever you like. But again, if you wanna, you know, use the geometry and play around with it more, you know, do so. You can play around, see where, how much dust you would like it to have, and so on and so forth. For me, it's more or less about here. Again, really subtle, really, you know, just a little bit there to make it more interesting. Okay, having all this and me finishing, you know, all this talk. We will need a gradient map again, a gradient texture, sorry, not a map. Even though more or less it's a not map but mask that we're using it as of right now. And basically it's the same idea that we used for the bell, which is this is gonna be how we, you know, choose where the snow is going to fall. So we take this, we see how this affects us right now. And as you can see, we actually are quite exactly where we wanted to, because I mean, this is actually a little more interesting because where will the light be? Right, like where will we decide where the snow will fall? I said light, didn't I? No light. You know, the snow will be. So it's actually super interesting because well, you can choose whatever you want, but it has to also make sense. And now that I say to think about it, gradient doesn't make sense, right? Because this lead is just not working that way, and I do actually think that ambient occlusion would actually be a much better job for this. Now that I think about it. And why did I say now that I think about it? besides the fact that I clearly did not think enough about it. Well, because, we can tell it that, hey, I want it on the upper part, but how can I tell it that? Well, using something I just deleted, and that's a gradient texture. Um, and I promise that, right now it might seem super hard to understand all this, or at least a little confusing. You will get them in time. I promise that you will get them in time. It took me a while to get used to everything, especially to how to combine, textures and masks and all kinds of stuff like this, because it's just not easy, honestly. It's a pretty tough thing to learn, and credit to those of you that did it. Credit even to those that didn't, because I don't blame you guys. It's a hard one. So also the gradient can be shaped differently, right? You can use what's it called? Jesus Christ, a spherical one, which, it's a sphere, and because the sphere seems a little too big for us, we can play around with it. But that's a little of the unfortunate part. We then need to move it so that we know where that is for us, which is a little, annoying, because I don't think we will succeed. Not like this anyway. Um, but yeah, I think the linear was doing well. I don't know why I moved it, why I changed that. So something, maybe like this could do. Something around there, and of course, we will add stuff to ease our way into the darker area, right? So also put it to ease, and maybe something like this. On the lower side is not going to be mostly at all, but we will have it kind of up there. Also, though, this is not going to be like, super much either. It has to be like a pretty down one. So something like this. It's not going to have a lot of snow. It doesn't have to have a lot of snow. So we have this now, right? This is a pretty cool mask, but this is not an enough mask, and we know why, don't we? Because we need a noise texture. Yes, you are right. Whoever said so, you're so right. So noise. Apparently I can't press it. Oh. Okay. And mix color. Okay. So actually, let's see what it gives us. Oh, this gives us super interesting. Actually, an extremity. Wait, didn't I see what this gives? Oh, I didn't. Now did I? Interesting. So, yeah. I'm dummy dumb. We can decrease this then a little bit, maybe somewhere like that. And instead of mix, we can use a multiply. I think we need to put it the other way around. Yep, something like that. A little better. And here you just play a little bit around with it. And let's see what this come on with this will give us. Alright, this is not that much so far, because it kind of can't. And actually we will add this one. Not add it, sorry. My bad. Actually, no, we can add it, but put this into the factor instead of that. S goes to A, and B has to be black now. I think this should work. All right, and let's actually, get this super up. Again, 550 should maybe do with a full roughness and 5.5 detail. Doesn't seem like it's good. Oh, no, yeah, that's better. So no. We should maybe actually do a multiply instead of that. Multiply seems to work a little better on it. Right, so yeah, multiply seems to do a little bit of a better job. And maybe, lower this a little bit. I don't know. Also this too, maybe 85.85 there. And we can use this as our new masks. Mask, not masks, sorry. All right, so having all this, right, we get this into the, mix shader, and then we get another principled BSDF. So with all this had here, you know what we need to do. We need to create the snow, but I don't want to keep, doing this again and again and again. I did it only because, actually, let me call this lead so that I know what it is. I want you guys to kind of have it, just, I wanted it for you to keep on playing around with it and, understanding it per se. But, oh, I switched the material. I am so sorry. That was not my plan. All I wanted to do was actually go to the bell, actually. And I need this, all this, because this is snow. This is the snow thing. Now, how can I do it? Well, a nice thing Blender has with the whole node stuff, you can get more nodes and put them into one organized node, all right? Kind of the same that this one right here, the gold medal from Polygon is. This is a lot of nodes into one big one. So how you do that, you might ask? Well, what I have to do is, I always forget a command for this one. Control G. Control G it is. I told you. Why don't you listen? All right, so you have this, and now you might feel lost. You might feel like, what have I done? Where am I? Inside your node. This is the big node we're talking about. But to see it, you go and press Tab. And there you have it. You see this little thing here? This is, node group 1, which we'll call snow. And it is our snow material that we kept creating over and over again for all these, because I wanted you to get used to it, but now we don't need to do that anymore. So we can take this, and actually, this is a good time. Okay, so any kind of node group is going to be shown in the group here. Okay, good to know. So with having this, actually, we can go back to our lead, and instead of putting a principal BSDF, press Shift and A, group, and a snow. And we took the node that we had back there, and now we can put this up, and this is perfect. All right, this is the snow we had there. The only difference is, you might say, oh, but it's not, showing as much. And, that's not this thing's problem, because this is from us, right? From like how we did this whole stuff. It's not, Blender, not Blenders, but it's not a node's fault. So we can do something like this, which, yeah, looks maybe not bad, but it doesn't look, too good either. So definitely not. And actually, let me undo all this. And this is because I went to the mix. So I think multiply is still a better one. It's still the one we're looking for. But we do need, first of all, we don't need this to be 100%. Actually, We might. Let me check something out. We have to play with the ambient occlusion here, right? It's the ambient occlusion that basically can give us, you know, what we're looking for, which is, you know, the snow there. But I think it's because of the multiply here as well. Yeah, and now we can see it much better, but we also have to reduce this quite a bit now. But this is not a big deal, right? But you can see it much more. And if we reduce this, it's a little better. And yeah, this actually looks pretty good. Now let's see the lead itself. Well, oh yeah, right. With this, we don't have the light anymore. That's one thing I don't really like. Yeah, but using ambient occlusion gives me this that I don't like, because it takes the shadows basically created by the tubes there, and those are represented as now, which I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not a greatest thing ever. So yeah, from here on, you know, you just play around with it, see what looks better for you, you know, get it to the look you think you want, right? Like, you might want it to look a certain way, make it look that way. You know, get your gradient down. Actually, way down in this one case. I don't know. I don't like. I know it took me a long time to talk, but um, I don't think I love this vibe too much. It's like I don't know, just not looking too well, in my opinion. It's just not that interesting to me. I mean, it's way too not control, let's say. Right, like it's either too wide here, which I don't like too much. And if we do this, it's a little too controlled. So this is more or less without any of it. Yeah, we could maybe leave it like this and maybe change it later if we change our mind. But for now, let's actually leave it this way. And now I'm gonna show you a trick that might change the way you texture in Blender because actually maybe you knew this is not that amazing, but you can assign more materials to one body. And how do you do this? Well, if we go into edit mode, right? And we, for example, select this face and all the faces around it here. And actually, I would need to kind of see. I don't know. I think that's all we needed. So if we select the list, we can press on the materials tab, press on plus to add a new material, press on new material, and assign. While you have the faces you wish to change the material to selected. So select those faces, get a new material and press assign, and this now has a totally new material that's different from this. Why does that matter though? Well, we'll put this at headlights. Because this is gonna be actually our headlight, as I think you just probably realized already. So let's actually set it to this yellow, and it doesn't make any sense. Actually, I shouldn't have put it here. I don't know why I did. I'm sorry. You have to go to emission, right? We won't have this as, a material, basically. We will have it as an emission material. But instead of principal BSTF, we could change it directly to either an emission, which would let us play only with that. So let's say this is our light, and just put like, I don't know, 35 or something, and that's it. This is gonna be our light, and this is the train's main headlight. And you can just change it color from here, maybe red, maybe purple, blue, whatever. You can actually play with it if you really wanna. It all depends on you and what you wanna do with it. So this is pretty cool. And what we could also be doing is take the tubes here and make them, again, I thought about it a lot, like what should we do with it? And I do think this should be more, not tubes and not cables, but like metallic, more or less like rods, I guess. Um, so maybe it's gonna work. I guess it should work, honestly. Um, okay. So let's just take these and we can find a new metal for them. All right, so Actually, I'm not gonna choose that one. I don't like it. And I did check it. You can use free materials even for commercial use apparently from Blender Kit, and the same applies for Polygon. So even more of a reason to try these. I think they're absolutely fantastic. With this metal, I don't know, I'm not too thankful with it. At least, I don't know. um, let's actually go here and back and say metal on Polygon. It's where can we find the best ones, if not here? I swear I'm not sponsored by them. I just really like the app. I don't know. I used it a lot of times. So actually, let's apply this one. Much better. Yeah, this is a little more of the vibe that I want. You know, like this metallic thing. And in case you say, oh, but I don't want it to be this bright, you can also play with the brightness, so you can make it a little bit of a more darker material. So yeah, there's that. This one stays. Good. Very good with that. And because we're good with that, we can also, uh, you know, use a mix shade node. How about that? I missed this. I didn't use this in such a long time. And a gradient texture maybe. Control T. Let's bring a color ramp, shall we? Okay. And maybe set this to spherical. Let me see if this works how I hope it will. Okay, it's not. So, you know, there's that. Usually if you play with like the angle of it, it might bring you something you want. Yeah, the spherical one gets a little bit annoying, honestly. Because it's like, where is it? Why can't I get it? Hmm. Well, you know what? No, spherical, and you don't deserve it. Spherical. And you know, we can keep kind of something like this. Maybe lower this down a little bit. Um, we could just use this and bring not this. But there's no one. Do I want the snow on this though? I don't know. Mm. I actually might not want the snow at all, neither on the lead. Actually, I have to go on the lead, which means all of this will have to go. Yeah, I think I can deal with this. Definitely. Okay, this one. Um, Honestly, this is not even a complicated. Honestly, let's actually just normal like metal thing. Um, Actually, maybe we will just use a corroded metal. It's just not worth the risk. The you know headache. And this is just because I kind of wanna make it seem like these were used way more and stayed here up way more, and this is why they're actually more used in the entire stuff. Uh, Actually, let this one have it this as well. Yeah. Okay, this actually looks good now. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Okay. Now this has way more of a, you know, um, print to it. Like this one has way more life into it. And I think I'm gonna stop right here, because honestly, I can't film right now anymore. And that's really kind of the reason I want to texture everything. Like genuinely, I love texturing, and again, it brings everything to life. And I think this really looks cool. Like this is pretty amazing. So, with this being said, I will let you go to the outro. Alright guys, this is it for this video. We are going to end it right here. I think we've done quite a bit, and we've learned quite a lot. I think I showed you actually a little more than I expected to. But I hope this will help you, create more interesting textures and more interesting objects. But yeah, this is just part of it, right? We will continue next time with even more stuff like this. So um, really, this is kind of it. I thank you guys so much for your support, and if you stuck around till the end of this video, I just wanna thank you so much. Also, we are now 55 subscribers in, so yeah, our community is just getting bigger and bigger, and I cannot be happier than this. So with that being said, just I want you guys to really be proud of yourselves for getting this far. I don't think a lot of people would, so I really think you should feel really proud about it. I think that's really cool. Also, if you guys like, please leave a like on this video. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed already, because there's more content to come, I promise you that much. And also, if you so like, leave a comment and tell me what you think, and maybe even share the video to your friends and family and stuff. So with this being said, I'm gonna end the video right here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and also I hope you guys have a great week. Bye guys.